Anyone have any changes they wish to make to the agenda? Okay, under new business, we're going to vote on this budget that I was passing around to everyone, just so you know. Anything else anyone like to change, add? Okay, thank you. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, there's no privilege of the floor this evening because no one's here. So, we'll move on to the minutes of the last meeting. Does anyone have any changes they think need to be made? Or can we have a motion to approve the minutes as they are?
I had let you know in advance that I was not going to be here,
Yes.
so let me put that as excused here. next to my
Oh,
name.
sure.
Thank you.
That's fine. Did you get that, Carol?
No, I didn't.
Next to Norma's name, she would like excused written, since she gave us forewarning that she wasn't going to be here.
Thank you.
Any other changes anyone would like to make? Oh, that's a good point. Is everyone's ringer off? Okay, may I have a motion to accept the minutes as amended? Not everybody all at
I
once.
don't know if I vote because I wasn't here. Wait, I can't.
Okay, Keith and Jim, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Do you want to abstain?
Yes.
Okay. We'll have all in favor, one abstention, one absence. And it was Keith and Jim. Thank you very much. The treasurer's report.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, John.
How's everyone? We got the reports here for August 31st, month 2, the new fiscal year. July and August, the library charges were a lot better than what they were towards the end of last fiscal year. I don't know why I asked Linda Peterson. She just said in the summer we seemed to get a lot more people coming in to pay their fines, but July and August were on budget or close to budget for the library charges on the income, so that was pretty good. The salaries through 2 months are about almost 1,300 under budget year to date. The first payroll in September, last week's, was under budget as well. But Matt and I were discussing that might change a little bit when we start opening on Sundays, so we'll probably go from being under budget to right on or close one way or the other. But at least we're off to a good start there. The books, a lot of the books have been entered through June, but there's still some in July and August that need to be entered. The ongoing Baker and Taylor theme that I have every month. So the books are not caught up. But for the year, it looks like for last year we were right on the books, within $1,000 or $2 of the total budget. Nothing else really stands out too much. We did get our check, the TAN check for $100,000 in mid-August, so that's in the key checking account now. And I looked at our cash balance as of today, September 10th. Without the TAN, we'd be down to $44,000, so it shows the urgency of that we needed that $100,000 to make it comfortably. So, because we have one more payroll next week until we get our check. Usually we get it on September 30th or so. So without the TAN, we would have been, cutting it to the bone. And the last point I'll make is the loan, as of September 4th, the September payment, because we had the weekend was September 1st and 2nd. The balance is $226,318.19. So almost at that $200,000 mark. And again, I anticipate we should be getting our first 50% tax revenue check on September 30th or so. That's what we got last year.
Okay. I have a question for you.
Sure.
There's cereals. It's 2,500 over budget. What is that? Are those?
I think we paid EBSCO.
Magazines.
Magazines.
Oh, you
Yeah.
pay them all at once?
Pay
Yeah.
annually up front.
Yeah.
Okay,
We don't.
so it's
split
because it's
evenly.
split out of months, that's
Yep.
why, all right.
Yep, one big one on that one. It was
Okay.
paid.
Thank you. Anyone else have questions for Jack? No?
No.
Well, okay then.
Great,
Thank you very much.
thank you, thank you. Am I sticking around now, or,
No, no.
you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Okay, director's report.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Matt.
Those are equal to trying to look them over.
Okay, thanks.
I forgot, and we're supposed to be making a accessibility
Yes.
report. Right, I forgot. Could I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report? It's based on that, just like that's fine. Norma, may I second? Nancy, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No abstentions? We have one absence. Okay, sorry about that. Yes, moving on. Go right ahead.
Okay.
Committee reports?
Committee reports.
Oh,
Are there any?
No.
I'm sorry, I'm just a little off today.
I have stuff I can talk to.
Right,
We met with the
there's-
building
Oh,
committee
okay.
last
Oh, the
time.
building.
committee is really the
Yes.
only one with anything to say, and he's been handling
The
it.
wood
So it's kinda
panelings
all-
and
What's that?
the wood, the
Yeah, that's right.
windows,
The wood, the windows,
the
the
back.
bat, the bat, he hasn't come back,
No.
so. That's
With my luck, I might come pull a book out.
Yeah, right.
okay, go ahead, Nick. So we'll just roll that into one thing, how's that sound?
Fall edition, I mentioned, the newsletter's finished. I know from the outside doesn't seem like much, but it's like a Herculean thing to get that thing together and out. Not to pat myself on the back, because a lot of it's Michelle. But it's just to get all the dates and all. I don't know how people do it with newspapers. I would be like a neurotic mess having to keep track of all the stuff that Indy has to keep track of. Double, triple checking all your numbers, but it looks like a good addition. Lots of pictures from the summer programs, and a good list of Friends programs coming up. One of which will be Jim's, the last two on the dairy farm. We're working on a flyer for that. Let's see. Oh, yes. I'm out of it too. Sorry, it's a crazy day. We went to the Rotary first Family Fun Day, which was a nice time. It was a beautiful day. Michelle, myself, Gwen, Ellen Mary's daughter, some other volunteers. We had a tent with sand art, which I didn't know was such a big thing. I don't think they had sand art when I was a kid. At least I don't remember it, but they loved it. You know, a lot of kids came by, and they also helped us make this chain of their favorite books. And I was actually, again, I was surprised that there's lots going on, but it seemed like a lot of interest in the library. Parents asking us questions. We were handing out brochures, and we had a good time. I actually got sunburned through my pants, which I didn't think was possible. Sorry for that intimate detail, but and on my knees, my kneecaps, over my life. The biggest news, really, I guess, around here, beside the building, is that we have somebody to replace David. Thank you. And that's why we are going to need to address our benefits package, which we're going to have to maybe make a little less generous than it was, unfortunately. But we'll get to that. The roofers were here last week. They were here for probably 4 or 5 hours. Replaced the tiles. A few days go by, and I get a call in the morning from Eleanor that she hears the dripping still. So I called them back, and they said they'll be here on Thursday to see if they, and this is good because we've discussed, they didn't actually go inside. The roofers came and just replaced missing tiles. They said they saw a lot of places with wood, bare wood and bare, they thought that what they had done would definitely, stop the leak. But so they're gonna go up inside the attic actually, and I'll have them look. Ellen Mary had expressed some fears that there may be a mold colony or mushrooms or something up there from all the years of water dripping. So they'll, we'll have them look at that, and hopefully they can detect the. I guess with water, it's not like with electricity and all these other things where they have thumpers and sniffers, and with water you just got to do it the old-fashioned way. Just try to trace where where they see damage. I guess, but I'll keep you apprised. Bernie and I met with the carpenter. I haven't contacted him yet this week. I think he said within the next couple of weeks he'd try to be here, if I remember right. I'll call him again tomorrow. He's a busy guy, but very good. He said he'll attend to the holes on both sides. We showed him something else that was looking funny.
Something on the front of that building that
That's
was
coming off.
seemed like it was coming off.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he does any painting. I think it sounded to me like he'll just do the woodwork and someone may have to come after him to paint, but we'll see. The quote he gave us was quite, I thought, generous.
Reasonable, yeah.
He said somewhere between, I said I wouldn't hold him to it because, depends on how hard it is, but between 500 and 1,000 for both, which I thought was very fair. So hopefully we'll get that done since it's getting near winter. We don't want squirrels in the attic. I think that's about it for my report. Trying to think if there's anything else that's happened since then. No, nothing. I think that's about it.
David who?
David Phillips.
Who's the
Rachel
assistant?
Lassen?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's in our case, it is,
Gotcha.
I know in the
Okay.
past when we talked about the painting of the building, asbestos was discussed.
Yes, that's right. I was able to get the tests back from BOCES. We could bring that to the next meeting. And a nice letter explaining the test results from the new, I'm not sure what his role is there, and I think he's health and safety.
Art Lang.
It used to be. It's
Okay.
Art Lang's replacement. He
Okay.
gave me a full-page letter, basically just an analysis of what he understood the report to say, which was there was asbestos in the paint and in
So
the
that might
lead or
have
something.
That might have an impact on the painting.
Well, we asked him
The-
about
the-
that.
The price.
Right. He said in this case no, because according to the code, the areas that he's addressing are small enough that you don't have to worry about it.
That's good
Deal
news.
with it. So we can do that without worrying about
Alright.
the abatement stuff. But he was well aware of the rules and said, yeah, if you're going to do a bigger job, you're going to have to take that into consideration. Anything else? Anything else you remember that I'm forgetting? You were there. I think we just showed him the holes. That was basically because originally I wanted him to come and give us kind of a sense of in what order we should do things because we had a list. But he said we started with the right things. He said always start with the roof. Do the roof, get leaks, and then go down from there. So at least we're on track.
This is a good step.
Yeah. Get the holes in. I think that's it.
Okay. Any questions for Mark? No. Well, since I skipped over the committee reports, I was just thinking, since you just took over the Sunshine Committee, do you wanna hit us all up for some money to fund the Sunshine Committee?
Well, I was thinking about giving you a 1 month warning
Okay,
Please.
so at the next meeting,
next meeting.
everybody show up with $20 for Jim?
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Is $20 still sufficient?
Yeah,
I
That's
think
what we
that's usually what we
did,
do
yeah,
when
and
it starts to
if-
get
and
down.
if we need
it
later
gets us
on,
up
we-
again.
Gauge how much more we need if we need it.
Yeah.
Last year was a heavy year.
Yeah, last
with
year I
the
think we
hospital
we
visits
each
and
gave
people
40.
leaving and yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Right, and then we took the collection for the last,
yeah.
so, okay, so everybody bring $20 for the next meeting for the Sunshine Committee. All right, thank you, Jim, thank you, Matt.
Okay.
Okay, unfinished business.
Okay, we're going to table, if it's okay, the salary. We're still working on the salary schedule.
Okay.
We had a hitch
So we
just
don't have
before
any
we
unfinished
so that.
business,
Oh,
we're moving
yeah.
on to new business,
Sorry,
alright.
Cindy.
That's fine, I know, it's just been a week. All right, unfinished business. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to bring up that we discussed in the past that we haven't resolved to your satisfaction and you'd like to discuss it some more? No? Okay then.
Actually, I probably missed it in the newspaper. Did we put a thing in the Indy about Ann's
Yeah.
completing that?
It's in our newsletter.
Okay.
So it'll be
newsletter.
picked up
Okay,
by the Indy.
just so that she
Yeah.
can get some
Yep, definitely.
publicity on that. That was a monumental task.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to table the salary schedule until
Right.
next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also I can report BOCES.
Alright. Okay, now, let's, is everyone comfortable voting on the, budget for the RCLS or?
Yes.
Yeah,
Is there anything in it now that you saw that we need to be, it's pretty cut and dry,
yeah,
same as always?
pretty much. I mean, it's, doesn't have to be back until the end of October.
Yeah, I have it
So
to
if you
depth,
want
yeah.
to-
No,
But if you
is
want
there
more
anything
time-
that's stood out to you?
No.
You reviewed it, Ellen,
But
right?
I'll look.
Yes.
So
Nothing-
nothing stood out
Nothing
that's-
really, no, and
that we
most
need to
of
be
what
aware
the increases were because they had no choice, you know, and it's like kinda how we had our problems, so.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it's 6%, which what did it do last year? It wasn't as much.
I could check, yeah.
Yeah,
My
I don't
glance was,
remember.
I would say I was cursory, I was very busy, so if
Right.
you want, we can wait another.
No, no, no.
We can,
no,
but
I
mean-
trust Ellen Mary, if she's looked at it, she
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want, we don't have to vote on it today. I have to have this back to them by October 26th.
Okay,
So if you
I'm
would
assuming-
prefer, we
no,
could wait until next
um,
month to.
I'm assuming their increases had to do with, you know, retirement, healthcare, and salaries?
Right, and budget cuts from the state and
Right.
all the same things that affected us at a smaller scale affected them, obviously, on a bigger scale. I don't think there's anything else that the,
Alright, I mean,
Yeah.
put it up to a vote.
okay,
Our cut is about 1,200,
yeah,
right?
1,200 out of their however many million dollars, yeah. So, okay. All in favor of accepting the 2013 budget for the Ramapo Catskill Library System? May I have do I do a motion or just, yeah? Okay, may I have a motion to accept the budget for the 2013 budget? Thank you. A second. Norma, all in favor? All opposed? No. One absence, and that's it. Okay, thank you very much.
Actually, related to this, I sent out to everybody, the new answer, contract. It's just revised today, actually, so the one you have, you can toss. This is,
Okay.
they made some typos. But it's gonna be in your Gmail addresses, except for yours.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, so you're gonna have to, you're gonna
Have to log on to it? You have to,
Is that going to be simple?
can't
For
those of us who are not-
Password,
Send it
password.
to both.
I
we
can,
have
I can
that?
do
I
both,
thought
sure.
the Gmail might be like for people outside the library
Right.
or something.
Yeah, I can do, okay, I thought we could just use that for our in-house, just to be cool, you know, so you can be part of the crowd, part of the in-crowd, okay, I can
This is
send
one
it
more
to you.
thing to check.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I haven't checked it yet, I haven't changed my
Wait.
password.
This
You-
is in addition to our home email. This is,
Right, now you all
I
have
prefer mine.
you all have Gmail, you're part of our domain.
Wow.
But yeah, sure, I can just, I'll just send.
But you're also part of Google Docs,
Yes, which is
where you
nice.
can get to where you can create spreadsheets and Word
Mhm.
documents and other types of
You
documents.
can work
From the
online.
internet, you don't need the software on your machine.
Right.
Share amongst the domain,
Yeah.
right?
So,
so to click on this, to access this email address here, do we need a password, a special code, a
Did
ring?
David reach out to
Yeah,
you?
you
or-
should have gotten an email. from
Yeah,
me.
I
Okay,
sent
I
out
haven't-
email
Okay,
to the
I
personal.
haven't read it, okay.
Was that about a month ago or something, 3 weeks?
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, right after the last meeting, I think it was.
Alright.
But the
Send it-
answer, do
Send me another
you
one.
remember this contract?
I
This is
don't.
just, it's not money.
Did you get it?
It's not, it has nothing to do with money, it has to do with what
Yeah, I
you
got mine over there.
remain as part of the
About
share
3 weeks ago,
capital.
probably you should send
Oh, yeah,
it.
yeah, no, I do remember.
Okay.
I don't remember seeing it. Seen a couple of things, but I
These are
don't
kind of throwing
Was
around
it
acronyms,
Carol's?
and I'm not sure if people.
Now, this would be your first, perhaps, foray into the cloud.
Ooh.
So,
I'm perfectly happy with my feet on the ground.
I'm with you.
Firmly.
This reminds me of a big basket we're putting all our eggs in. That's all I keep thinking about the cloud.
Yes.
Anyway.
And when the lights go out,
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
we take out the candles.
Yeah. Okay, now, the financial policies, I think we're gonna discuss that during
Yes, right.
executive
I have
session.
2 others.
So there's 2 other policy things you wanna discuss, correct?
Yes.
Bring them on.
One is the health benefits.
Okay.
I can hand these out, I should have already, but it's pretty simple, actually. I'll read the old and then read the new.
Okay.
Health insurance, under a plan approved by the board, is provided, this is the old, for all full-time employees immediately upon the start of employment. The library will defray the cost of individual coverage, that means 100%. Dependent coverage, employee, spouse, family, will be provided upon employee request. The library will defray 75% of the cost of the dependent coverage policy. The employee share will be deducted from his or her pay. So that I've amended to this. The library will defray 75% of the cost of a board-approved healthcare coverage plan for all full-time employees commencing 60 days after the date of hire. Couple family coverage will be provided upon employee request. The library will defray 50% of the total cost of couple family coverage commencing 60 days after the date of hire. So we've gone from 100 75 and from 75 to 50. Which, and that also, I have a feeling, looking forward, we're probably going to have to do more. I'm going to look into some other things that we can do with some of the retirement costs, and Jack and I, and with Carol's help, was a great business mind, but possibly having to institute this for everyone, but slowly, including myself. I mean, people that are presently employed, not just people coming in.
So that was my next question. This
This
is
is
for
for new hires right
Everybody
now.
who's already employed will be continuing
Will
to
look-
have this
right.
coverage?
But I think that we probably should do, and we just started this conversation today after I'd written this over last week, is look at ways of doing that gradually. I don't know, I'm not sure how to do it, but a certain percentage each year or each quarter or whatever, we'll have to work out the numbers, but slowly bring this to bear for the whole place, not just the
So everybody's contributing.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? We're changing it where they now have to contribute 25% of
For
their
themselves,
coverage for
right.
themselves, 50% for dependents.
Right.
Mhm.
And is there a number that we're saving that if, looking ahead 10 years from now or 5 years or whatever,
that Jack for that,
that
yeah.
is this a big savings or,
What's our health insurance cost right now?
Yeah.
Is that
Shouldn't
broken
be
down?
next.
into-
I know, I was thinking about that.
Yeah, it's broken down in here. Health insurance is, we budget 6,000 a month, we pay 5,400 a month.
72,000 for the year.
Yeah,
So if we are saving
well, right now
at least
it's only
25% of that eventually,
eventually, right,
so
so
Yeah.
we're
it's
talking
$20,000
Yeah.
almost, 15,000. That's eventually, right now, we're talking
Right.
one person, so it's.
But what does the local
Right.
school district do, do you know?
I don't. I'll check into that.
Because, a lot of times, I think people look to that as like the base or the bar, they
Mhm.
set a bar, and then they do the tough negotiations, and you end up having to not go through the negotiating fight
Right.
because it's already been done by the
Right.
local school district with the teachers.
Okay.
Do you have any sense of what it
I
is?
don't even wanna say, 'cause I'm not sure. I haven't contracted
Yeah,
them,
because
but
a
I don't
lot
have
of
Mm.
districts have gone to, 10, 15,
Yeah.
whatever
Right.
percent's being paid by the,
Yeah, I did some research just in general online for other nonprofits and for other, I couldn't get anything, enough of a sample that you really like, but
Right.
it looked like this was in line with what everyone else is doing. This is the sort of,
Other libraries doing the same thing?
abroad. I don't know about RCLS. I'd have to, ask specific directors and see how they're doing.
I just look at, we do like to take care of our people.
Mhm.
We want to keep our people. And we don't want to provide such a hardship that
Oh, of
might
course,
be
yeah.
affected.
Believe you, I don't want to impose this on myself. But I'm just looking at the numbers and it's becoming scary. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, no, definitely. I'm sure we've all been contributing to our health insurance, and certainly something that's made the rounds here in Goshen
Mhm.
with municipalities. But again, I want to make sure that our people are taken care
Sure,
of,
of course.
as best we can, considering the fiscal climate. But
I mean, if we can see the numbers based on even 100% of employees, but then not covering, they're welcome to contribute 100%
Mhm.
if they want their family coverage or dependent coverage. Compare that to not, or 75% or less for the employee, just to see how that would break out too. And this really applies to how many full times do we have that it would apply to?
3, 4, let's see,
Right.
1, 2,
Well,
3.
you mean new
No, that
ones
would
or
right now, if we were to institute it, just one.
just
Yeah,
one?
this is just
person
one
coming
person.
But how many
Right.
total would we be targeting for
Over-
the long term?
Be 1, 2,
If,
3,
if today's
4, 5.
today's staff was the same
Right.
5 years from now, let's say
7,
6 or 7.
6 or 7.
About 6, yeah.
Okay.
So they'd be paying 75%, 25 for themselves and 50 for their family? No.
50% of their family coverage and 25% of their own. It
50%.
actually comes out to what the total, maybe 35% of the total bill.
do we pay our people well?
We're competitive.
We're pretty competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
you know.
competitive. And we're really
All right.
nice people like
No, it's just.
we are competitive, but we actually have more part-timers to avoid
Yes.
the expense of
Right.
this, cause it is, it gets very, cause every full-timer isn't just the salary, it's the benefits, it's the retirement, it's the, you know, big giant.
I mean, I'm with you, Keith. I feel like a sap, you know, I mean, I don't, I mean, you know what I mean? You know, you got good people and I don't wanna, you know what I mean? And I don't wanna
They put so
neglect
much in, I
anybody,
mean,
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't seem to amount to
Especially-
much, looking at the full budget of what are we at, 1.2 million?
Yeah, it's
And this would only
72,000 a
account
year
for, what, 15,000 or so?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, worst case, right? At least,
Yeah, if we
you know?
paid,
So,
if we implemented this
mean-
with everybody, probably figure 20,000, cause I'm sure some of that 72 covers family.
Yeah, just.
Does that sound right to you, Carol?
But 20 not now, 20 once
20
everybody
if
else
we
comes
got
on board,
everybody
which
in.
could be
I hate
Year.
that too.
a year or 2 years.
Yeah.
from
Well,
now.
you can,
Like
Yeah.
Eddie did, you know, with the county workers and his people, and not having everybody contribute to their, I think it was their medical insurance.
yeah,
Like, you know, his executive board didn't have to
Right.
contribute
Yeah.
till a couple of years down the, it's
Yeah.
just
no,
not
that's ridiculous.
fair.
No, that's not right, but I mean, this would affect Matt too.
Down the line.
Right.
Right, because he's
Right.
already in,
I mean,
and eventually, I think we would have to make another policy change in order to include people who already work here with a date of when that would start. What prompted this? Did the healthcare price go up so much?
Well,
that-
every
or
year it's 13%, you
it goes
know,
up, yeah.
and
Well,
Mhm. Yeah, no, I
But
mean.
the general feeling about public employees, you know, out in the community is that they, over time, they've negotiated a tremendous set of benefits in
Mhm.
addition to a fairly attractive salary.
Yeah.
And so the movement has been to cut back in those areas so
Mhm.
that the public employee is not so different than the private employee.
Mhm.
And that's why I wondered what happened with the school
Mhm.
district, because that might be a way to justify what we're doing and kind of get in line with
mhm.
I'm just
what's happening.
thinking Hurricane Irene came through and you all were here to saving the library.
Right, but
I know, it's,
the
I know
people
there's
who
a
are
reality.
footing the bill are paying how much for their own health insurance? And is it fair for them to pay for the library and the employees here aren't chipping in? Is that, you know what I mean? It's not,
It's
yeah,
a
they
tightrope. It's
it is,
a
it's not a
tightrope
nice
and-
place to find ourselves, and, you know, in a perfect world, we'd provide everything for everybody, but we can't. I don't know what the school does, do you want to
We can
table
hold
this
this
to
off.
the next meeting?
I'll
and
look at
we'll
what the school is just doing.
check out what
And
the school
also,
district
we're-
does?
we're-
you've got a proposed salary increase coming up. Maybe we could tie in the change with the adoption of the new salary
Mhm.
to, you know, perhaps consider ways to lessen the impact.
Mhm. Okay, I'll look.
yeah.
Are
If
you
anything-
looking, I'm sorry,
If anything, if, you know, you're talking 25% off the get-go, I know it's a new
Mhm.
employee, but something like that should be gradual if it's to hit existing employees.
Yeah.
So
Because,
the new employees should get full force and then.
I guess,
Well,
it's.
because if that's where we're headed,
But,
that if that's what we're going to decide, that 25% of the fee, if it's $100 a month now, it's $25 a month per person, and they aren't paying that yet, so the first year make them pay 12, the next year make them pay 25, is that how you're thinking? I'm
well,
just
that's
asking,
usually how
that's,
it's done because,
right,
you know,
that's
they all
why I
have
just wanna
budgets that we
understand
try
where
to
you're
live
coming
within,
from.
and
okay,
I don't know how I should, maybe I should know what the pay scale is here for the employees, but I
yeah,
just
we have,
didn't
that's,
think it
this
was.
is the new
yeah, that's-
schedule, that's why, that's
Yeah.
not ready yet. So
Are
the
you-
schedule we have expired this year.
are you looking to have the policy before the person comes on board, so that there's no, you know, well, I took the job and this is, when I took the job,
Well,
this
that's
is
what I
what
was
was on
hoping.
paper.
But we can,
When's
Are his
when's
60
he
days
starting?
up?
no, see, we have 60 days if we, no, he's sort of already in the slot.
Right.
But I've explained this to him, and you know he's okay with it. I mean, with this particular person, here's the thing. We get into the details. we've been very good on the personnel line.
I don't know.
No, I won't give
No,
any,
okay.
any numbers.
All right.
But what we're gonna do is, we're gonna make it, to make it a little fairer to this person, I'm gonna start him a little higher than he would normally be started, because he's been here for a while. He's been here for over a year, and he's a very good worker. So he'll start a step higher than he would normally start, which will kind of reverse
Right.
some of the coming, being the
Right.
the guinea pig per se for this new,
Right.
so that it's, it's fair for him in this kind of intermediate way, and then
Right.
going forward, someone fresh, never been here before, comes in, it'll be like it's always been like that. It's just, so.
It's
Thank
just,
you for the
it's
word.
unfortunate we're so small, because in the corporate world, you're given choices. You take 4 different plans that
Mhm, I
provide
know.
varying amounts of coverage, so you're gonna pay
Right.
for the more coverage you get, and
When I got
that's a
here,
little
that's
more
how we
fair.
had it, actually.
Well, see, it would be nice if there were some kind of like, see, I don't, not that they should, but if RCLS were more of an umbrella thing where all of the member libraries were
Wow, that's
pooled
an
and all
idea.
Well,
that.
that's
That
the
would be
third time I've
nice.
heard that idea, and
Wow.
I've never.
And I think
and I
that
don't know
would be
why
a
it's not in place.
fantastic, I don't know why
Really?
it's not in place, because
We're,
that
we're New
would,
York State, NILA.
all of the
Mm.
libraries together would have more buying power
Sure.
and get a better price and a better deal and better coverage if we all, instead of each individual library negotiating separately.
Yeah.
So, I
Now,
mean,
actually, Frank was here, and he said, "Why don't you try to pair with the school?" I don't know if that's possible. I have no idea. But he said, "It's no loss to them. If you
Right.
could get your
Right.
people under their umbrella, if it doesn't cost them anything, it's just So there might be other.
Yeah, I mean, right,
Right,
I don't know.
I'll look
I-
into it.
I don't entangle ourselves with the
Actually, there's
school.
no
Well,
incentive for them to
There is
negotiate
that, yeah.
Another, I've been places where they've made this type of change, and what they've done is they've actually, like you were just talking about, bumped up the people's salary. So if the library is paying $1,000
Mhm.
for this person, they actually would take the what the person is meant to contribute now and bump their salary up at that amount.
Right,
So basically, you're taking the health insurance cost and moving it, the decrease in that, moving to the salary, but that would be this year's effect or next year's
Right,
effect. The coming years, if the health insurance raised to a considerable amount, they're still covering the additional
Mhm.
part of the 25% that they would be paying, or 50%, whatever.
Mm.
So,
So
so
that-
if
so
I'd
they'll
be interested in
say-
those type of numbers too, where that way people would feel, okay, well, I'm getting an increase in my salary to counter what I'm
Right.
going to be paying, and that way you could do it across the board for all the full-time employees at that moment.
And then
Mhm.
they'd
And not
be able
worry
to
about being-
mentally get used to the idea before it actually hits them in the pocket.
Yeah.
But then there's no savings regardless.
There's no savings for
There's
us
no
this year
savings.
anyway.
But for the
Because
future,
It's just
Even
one.
in future years,
No, there isn't,
how
'cause-
are there savings if you've increased their salary?
No,
to-
just the first year, he said, not
But you're,
for.
yeah.
well,
but
because the
still.
salary
I know
increase
it's a significant increase. That's a significant salary increase.
I mean, there's other
for the
benefits that
for the first year,
are
but then the
tied to
salary increase would be only 3%, let's say, for a coming year. But
The
if the insurance goes up 10%, ultimately it's a loss for the employee.
Also,
Yeah.
Because
But
they
if
don't
you make a
increase as
salary-
much as the, you know, and
That's
so
a-
our
that's a-
savings in the insurance would be that amount.
if you make a salary, it's taxable. So if they're in a 25% tax rate,
Also to
suddenly they
consider.
lose 25% of that increase.
Well, there's also flexible spending accounts that
Sure. Yeah, that's a
that you
consideration.
could use to pay for
Well,
your
here's hoping
insurance.
their spouses have better jobs with
Maybe
And they're
we
common.
we overthink some of these
Yeah,
things.
well,
I
you
don't
know, because somebody
we
is
care
going
for
to,
people. That's why.
Maybe
we
we should have a
do.
Chinese doctor on staff that can keep, you know how they, in
right.
China they used to, you didn't pay unless you got sick. I don't know, unless you were, how did they, you paid while you were well. When you got sick, you didn't pay or something like this. It was backwards, because their job is to keep you well.
Yeah, I like it.
So maybe we
Well,
can,
that's
There we go, we keep a doctor on staff.
So if we put this on hold for next meeting and see some numbers, is that going to create a problem for you?
Right, for
well,
this
I'll talk
particular
to,
person.
no, we can work with it. We can work with it.
And then whatever we decide next month goes into effect immediately for him, whatever it is.
Retroactive, right.
Okay.
And you can
Everybody
get
comfortable
the-
with that?
retroactive. Though. I mean, you wouldn't
Well-
ask for money to
No, I'm saying,
previous.
I'll let him know that we're just in discussion, this is what's on the table. I mean, he already is kind of
He
aware.
happened to get the job in the middle of a
Unfortunately,
flux.
right.
so
Another
he'll
great
just
way
have-
to get information for comparison purposes is to go to BOCES benefits.
Mm.
BOCES tends to look at all the benefits in the, is it 13 districts they have?
Yeah,
And then they go to the middle.
The middle.
So
Okay.
that's the easiest way to find out what's happening in Orange County.
Okay,
Sure,
I'll check.
that's a good idea.
Thank you.
Alright.
Alright, so that's tabled to.
No, there's another policy?
Yeah, this one's a little easier.
Oh, yeah, okay, this is the tutoring.
Yeah, this is tutoring.
Alright, so we're gonna discuss the proposed policy amendments at the next meeting, and that will go under old business for the next meeting. Alright,
I don't think, I'm gonna just read you my new tutoring policy, rather than make you compare and contrast, because it's not really that big a deal. Basically, it comes down to, we wanna get the tutors off the main floor and down into this room where there's already
Oh.
people with kids, people talking, people
So-
teaching people, so. Due to space constraints, tutoring will only be permitted in the downstairs meeting room from 3 until closing Monday through Saturday, and 1 to 5 on Sundays when no other program is scheduled. It is the tutor's responsibility to check the website calendar or contact the library for availability. The meeting room is a multi-use space, therefore quiet and privacy are not guaranteed. The library is not to be used as a classroom or office space, but as a safe workspace for students to receive instruction. Tutors may not publish or distribute advertisements or letters identifying the library as their place of business or imply library sponsorship of their activities. The library does not sponsor, recommend, or assume liability or responsibility for the work and/or activities of the tutor. Tutors and students must bring their own supplies. Tutors and students are expected to abide by the library's patron code of conduct and unattended child policies. Children of the age of 18 who are tutored in the library are the responsibility of the tutor while on library property until they are released to a parent or guardian. The director has final discretion as to whether the activity is tutoring and permissible under this policy.
Wow, that's something.
I love it,
Yeah.
okay,
Is it- That one we can vote on, that one's okay, that's.
Yeah.
okay.
yeah,
Sounds
yeah,
good.
that's good.
No,
Do-
I see
do-
squinted eyes.
Somebody
The,
show
the one,
Brittany
the
King.
one, yeah, right. The one statement about the library does not
It's not a classroom?
sponsor. No, the library doesn't sponsor, or doesn't the activities of the tutor.
Right,
Do we need to say the activities of the tutor or students? Tutor and students.
let's see, well, we have tutors and students are expected to abide by the library's patron code, that's kind of an umbrella.
Well, it says or imply library sponsorship of their activities, that covers everything.
There.
Okay.
There
Alright.
covers, there, everyone involved.
It's really the
How can
context
we-
of don't say you're working on behalf of the library. Don't say
Right,
we.
we're letting you use our
Right.
space, that's it, that's
Okay,
the end of our
okay.
relationship.
How can we tell a tutor, you can't inform people that you're tutoring and your tutoring will take place in the library?
You can tell people that, you just can't hand out
Like post it,
flyers
yeah.
and say, act
not?
as if, because then that gives us an insurance liability that we're now a place of business for this person and we're not assuming that and they're not paying toward our premium. So they can arrange with someone to come here and they could put on there, we'll meet in several places, but if they identify, I'm a tutor and I tutor at the library, then it looks like they're one of our employees and it looks like we're responsible for them. And but if it's just I tutor and I can meet you at a variety of, including the diner or the that's a different animal.
Okay.
That's why it's the way it is.
Somebody's phone is.
It's
Here,
mine,
that's
sorry.
all.
Oh,
And that's why we need a new library.
Among many others.
Yes.
someone wants to know.
But the piece about it's not a classroom.
Right.
Can you that piece of it?
The library is not to be used as a classroom or office space, but as a safe workspace for students to receive instruction. I think it's just
Yeah, okay.
kind of a, you
Yeah,
know,
to receive instruction, yeah.
rather than
That's
say
good,
it's
yeah,
class, you're
yeah.
gonna have, you're gonna,
Right, you're not
we
gonna
don't
have
have the idea
8
that they could
kids
just take
here
over
and
the
just-
place and,
Right.
it's not, you know, this doesn't come up
It's
that
not a
often.
private space, it's a public
Right,
space,
and you're
and
gonna
it
have
needs to be used
Exactly.
accordingly.
Right.
You know, you can't
No.
come in and set up
And it's kind of
business.
delineating what we mean by that, and because that issue's come up, so it's on point.
The three biggest changes from the old policy are that they used to meet upstairs, and we're trying to keep them from being up there because it's just too crowded. And then if they were gonna officially meet every 2 weeks or every whatever, they were supposed to they were supposed to actually get a meeting room request form. And it never happens, and it's too complicated to just, you know what I mean? It's like a hotel lobby or something. You're trying to get people to just come. If the space is available, you're welcome to use it. If not, then find another place. And the third thing was when we made a distinction between the school, the Goshen school, and tutors at large, which became too difficult too, and didn't make sense because we said no for-profit tutors. And then people, you know, argue, well, they're making money. They're just doing it through the district,
Right.
not, you know. So it
Yeah.
just let's just erase those distinctions, and we'll just The lucky thing about this document is that we can always change it. If this doesn't, you know, we can we'll try this out and see how this works, and
It sounds good.
if it's, you know.
Can I have a motion to accept the new policy?
I make that motion.
And
It's a great
second.
policy.
Okay, that would be Keith and Jim, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All opposed? Okay, and one absence. All in favor and one absence. Okay, any other new business? Alrighty then. Privilege of the floor? Okay. Now, could I have a motion to go into executive session at 8:15 PM? Bernie, a second. Nancy, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Everybody, okay.